Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Toby's Sideshow of Scale Styrene. The show's about to begin.
I know there are some model building purists, even diorama builders, who um, do not like to see things like this added to a diorama or a model because these are basically a single piece item that, and it's Safari. Yeah, all right, it looks about right for the scale and everything, but it's not a true model. It isn't something you had to build. But as you can tell, I'm doing more than just taking the animal and using it in the diorama. I'm actually painting these, making them look more lifelike. And the fact that they're just one piece, to me, that's not much different than those old figures you used to get in the monogram kits that were also one piece that you had to basically paint and make them look lifelike. And so that's what I'm doing with these. I know some people still say no, these are not models, and maybe they're not, but they are very lifelike figures. And when you start cutting and dissecting and putting them back together, then that's very much like you have to do with these one-piece figures that used to come from monogram and stuff. So I built this. I mean, it didn't come that way. I had to build it. I had to figure out how to build it. So to me, this is now very much a model kit, at least something very much diorama worthy. I know some other people are saying no, these do not belong mixed with models because they're a kid's toy, but no, not in my book. Something like this, these Safari figures, the Papo figures, the Slike figures, they're basically somewhere between 1/22nd and 1/25th scale. Many of them are, and so they look really good when you're posing them with a 1/24th scale figure. And well, with that said, let me take a look at the journey from a one-headed tortoise to a two-headed tortoise. That's what we're doing with this video here. Hope you enjoy it. Bear to build a bear. Anyway, also if you notice, there's a Galapagos turtle here, or tortoise here, and I'm thinking I might get a second one of these or two more of these, because I do like one of them and I want one of them to be just as it is. But I'm thinking I want to get a second or two more of these and take the head off of one of them and go Addams Family and have a two-headed tortoise for my Glue Bomber Circus. Have a two-headed tortoise. That would be kind of cool too. And finally, let's meet Mo, Larry, and Curly, the three giant tortoises, which, as you can tell, all look alike. But, well, two of these are going to be losing their head, and both heads are going to be going on the one body. So that's the next step, is cutting off these heads and then finding a way to attach them back onto one single body, so I will have an Addams Family style giant tortoise, and that's my next step with that. And then, like I said, I want to keep one as it is because, well, I like it. So we're going to have a two-headed tortoise and a single-headed tortoise real soon. It wasn't hard at all, cutting it off at least. I just used your typical number 11 X-Acto blade, cut through the soft rubber pretty easily, and here's what the mock-up is going to look like. So right now I've just got the heads taped in place using a piece of painter's tape, but I'm going to have to find a more permanent way to attach the two heads, and then I will have my two-headed tortoise. I think that's going to look pretty cool. And I think it'll look just about right. The heads, there's enough room for both heads to be there. It's not going to look strange or out of place or anything. Well, no more strange or out of place than any other two-headed tortoise. And when you consider we're talking about a land with dragons, well, a two-headed tortoise should fit just fine with my circus. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So one of the things I was thinking of with the tortoise originally was I was just going to try and melt these heads back into place. That was an epic fail. I'm glad I didn't try real hard because I would have just screwed up the heads and then I would have been out two headless tortoises, and last thing I wanted. So what I've tried instead is I've taken some florist wire, I heated it up, and I jammed it inside the body of the tortoise, and now they're nice and tight. They're not going to go anywhere. And what I'm going to do is try and drill holes on this side, and then fill it with some epoxy, and then kind of put a little putty or something around the edges, and shove it down on there, sort of like so somehow, until it all matches up, and then let the epoxy dry, maybe a milliput or something like that around it, and then I can start painting the heads and get it in place. That's where I'm going with the tortoises. So I think that's going to work. I hope it will. The little pieces of wire should give it enough bracing so that the heads will not fall off. Okay, while waiting for the glue to dry on the roof, I moved ahead with the tortoise. And if you remember, the heads were poked on with a piece of florist wire inside the neck and going into the body for both heads. So the heads are there. And then what I've done is I took some Tester's contour putty and basically just squirted it into the gaps. And then taking a toothpick, I smoothed it out and put lines going into the neck. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little alcohol or something or a Q-tip, wipe it up, clean it up a little bit, smooth it out. And once that's done, then I think the heads will be in place and ready to paint. And then I can get the two-headed tortoise all set up and ready. So here's the original tortoise with just a single head, and you see the coloring on it and everything, and it's not a bad coloring going on with it. And well, I wanted to get the green as close as I could to the original green that was used on the original tortoises, the ones with a single head. And I think I did a pretty good job. Here's the two-headed version now, and I think the heads are positioned pretty well. You can see there that there is still some line there where the putty was matching up with the neck. So I will probably do a little bit of touch-up work around there. But the green coloring is not too bad at all. It's a little darker. And what I did to get those colors is I used XFJN green, which is way too dark. And then I just added some flat flesh to it. And that's the skin color of the tortoise right now. And I think it's looking pretty good. I think it's going to work out pretty well. I just got to now do some weathering with it, so I'll probably lighten him up and stuff, get some better skin tones going for him. And then I've got to I want to get the shell about the same colors, but I do want to do some painting on it. What I've got to do, I think, is I'm going to give it a wash of black so you can see all the lines in here and everything. And then I will just mix up a batch of a brown that's going to be about the same color, probably mixing like a desert tan with a darker brown until I get it to match up, or I might be using flesh again. Flesh really works out pretty well with a lot of these colors. And then I've got to fix up the bottom of this shell, so we'll see how that goes. And then we'll have our tortoises already in place, and then I just got to figure out what kind of head I'm going to put on the old tortoise, because waste not, want not, and I don't want him to walk around with no head, you know, who wants a headless tortoise. Really thinking he's going to get a T-Rex head. So we'll see how that works out. Anyway, that's where we're at with the tortoise right now. Next time you see the tortoise, he's going to be done. I've basically reached the midway point on painting the two-headed tortoise. What I've got so far is, well, I painted his skin, like I mentioned, a mixture of the Japanese green, JN green, XF11, and flesh, XF15. And then the bottom of the shell, I gave it a coat of XF49 khaki. And so those are the colors I'm going with. And then what I have done so far after that is I've given it a liberal wash of black paint. And that's why it's looking so dark right now. And from there, I will need to start doing the dry brushing to get it back to a lighter color. And what I will also be doing very shortly is basically lining the shell. You see what we have here. Now the black wash gets a little bit into the shell lining, but not as clearly or as defined as I'm wanting. So what I'll end up doing is taking a black permanent Sharpie and just basically lining the shell like so that everything will be nice and distinct. And then after that, it's going to be successive lighter shades of colors on the shell to get it to a lighter brown, closer to what we see here as opposed to what we have here. And I'll probably be using the whole red here mixed with something to lighten it up a little bit. And then what I'll have to do on the shell is give it a clear gloss covering, and then the skin will be more of a matte color. And what I'll be doing to lighten the colors here is various shades of green over this dry brushing of lighter shades of green over the black, so that it'll bring it out nice and good. And then I'll just need to paint his hands. And same thing with the shell. On the bottom, I'll probably just be lining it. You're not going to see it too much, so I'm not worried about the marking on the bottom. I know a lot of purists would go and file all that off. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the markings on the bottom of the shell because, well, once it's sitting like that, you don't see it anyway. But there you have where the midway point for my tortoise. We'll see how it comes along as I continue to paint the shell and the skin on the tortoise. So here's my handy dandy mixing cup, which is basically a cap off of a bottle of Diet Coke, I think. And so I poured in a little JN green, a little of flat flesh, and a little bit of yellow green here. And I'm going to use that, get my mixer going on, which is basically a toothpick. And I'm just mixing up the paint now. And I'm going to dry brush that over the blacks, the very dark washed skin of the tortoise. And you know what? That's a pretty close look to what the original color was. So again, it's JN green, flat flesh, and yellow green. I just kind of mixed them up and went for whatever it was going to be, and it looks pretty close. So time for the dry brushing to begin. So we take the brush, dab it in there, and then get as much of it off as possible. We all know how to dry brush, I think. And then we're going to start dry brushing the tortoise, and we'll see how it comes out. And I think it's going to work out pretty good. But it's kind of boring to watch this, so we'll move from the Yeah, that's coming out real well. In any case, we'll cut away and come back after I get the heads all dry brushed and see what it looks like. So this is where I'm at right now. You can see there's definitely a difference in the way they look because of the black wash underneath the green. But I kind of like the way that is looking, especially on those necks and everything. And I don't know, it's looking pretty good. I like the way the legs are looking. The bottom is looking. For the bottom of the shell, what I did was I mixed a little dark yellow with a little flat flesh, and then I applied it over what the old khaki, just like a very thin wash, and then I drew the lines in with the black Sharpie, and then the shell. The more I look at it, the more I like the color that I have on the shell right now. The way the the black wash is showing through in some places, and then you've got the whole red, and then the original undertone color there going on. So I've really reached the point where I don't think I want to do anything more with this because I like the way it looks right now. I've got the eyeballs repainted with the gloss black, so he's got nice shiny gloss black eyes. I've lined the mouth with the black Sharpie, and I think this is it. This is the way I'm going to leave my two-headed tortoise. I think he looks pretty good. So here's what the original looked like versus the new two-headed tortoise. And well, we'll compare a little bit more in a slideshow here in just a second. But I think that's it. There's my two-headed tortoise for the Glue Bomber Circus, and I think I'm going to kind of replicate most of that onto my other single-headed tortoise. So there we have my two-headed tortoise. Stick around for some slides.
Thank you for visiting Toby's Sideshow of Scale Styrene. If you liked what you saw, please consider giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment. Share it with your friends, and please subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up online. Thanks again for visiting, and see you soon.